Welcome back, everybody. This is my second attempt. Not because the first time I cooked it, it came out bad. It came out delicious. I make this over and over and over again. I'm not even gonna say as I mentioned in my last video, because I'm just gonna keep on doing that. I did say that I do 4 bunches of collard greens every time I make this because they shrink down, and people in this house destroy the collard greens every time I make them. One person in particular destroys them. So making just two bunches, like how you grab a bunch like this, 2 of those will last not even a day in this house. So I've put 2 tablespoons of grapeseed oil in the bottom of my pot, and these are going to be not just vegan but also alkaline collard greens. So we're going to, so while that heats up even more, their big heaping bowl of collard greens, there's 4 bunches there, which I have soaked and rinsed and drained. I have 2 large white onions that I've pretty much just quartered and then sliced to about this size. I have 2 tablespoons of liquid smoke, 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar, and then 2 teaspoons each of sea salt and onion powder, and then 1 teaspoon of cayenne, and then the grapeseed oil is the only thing that we're using it for, is to saute the onions. So get a nice, if you don't hear that when you add your food to the pot, it's not hot enough. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to stir these onions up until they're kind of like translucent. You don't really want to get a brown on them, unless that's how you like them, then you know, you can do it that way. But just getting them to translucent is perfect. So I'm going to be stirring these. What I said in regards to the first video, the collard greens came out perfect. I edited it, I got it totally ready to go, and then I deleted the video before putting it on my channel. So I was a little mad about that, but I said, you know what, just moving forward, I just moved on to the next 2 recipes that I was going to add to the channel. And I was like, it's okay, I'm constantly making collard greens, so next time I make them, which literally just happened 2 days ago, and I made a batch that big. 2 days later, we already need more collard greens because, like I said, they go crazy, crazy quick in this house, which is, I guess, really saying something for them. They can't be bad, otherwise they wouldn't go so fast. So I'm going to stir these, and I'm going to actually let them sit for a couple minutes and then give them another stir, and when they're translucent, they get to where I want them to be, we're going to move on to the next step. Alright, so our onions have gotten down to, I actually stepped away from them and was like having a conversation. So they kind of browned a tiny bit, but it's okay. All it does is just adds more flavor. You know, when you make a little mistake in the kitchen, that's how you got to look at it. So those are our onions. And then what we're going to do now is we're just going to add, we can't add all of them because there are so many. So I'm just going to pretty much fill the pot up. And the last time I got 4 bunches of collard greens, I was able to get half into the pot. And then once it cooked down, because they disappear, collard greens and spinach, I say, are disrespectful, and they're like a magic act. They disappear. You put them in the pot. So we have some spring water. I'm actually going to use my measuring cup just so that I can give you guys a better idea of the proper measurements. I mean, with the water, it's really not a big deal. If you put not enough, it can become a big deal, because then it can actually start to singe on the bottom. But it's not like a super delicate ingredient where you have to get it completely right. So for right now, I'm just putting in 2 cups. I don't like too much water in my collard greens, because it adds way too much moisture. I don't like them. I've added too much water before and they've come out like mushy like. And I mean, mushy collard greens aren't the worst thing in the world. So we're gonna let these cook down. I'm gonna put the cover on them and I'm gonna let them cook down. And then once I see that we have enough room to add the other half, we'll do that, and then we'll add the liquid smoke and the seasonings and, you know, all that other stuff. So we'll be back. It's finally cooked down enough. It took ridiculously long. I used to have, honestly, I used to only cook collard greens on Thanksgiving. Not that I don't love them, just to me it was just a, you know, a Thanksgiving thing. And I had this pot that I could barely, if I wrapped my arms around it, I think it was probably a little difficult for my hands to meet. I don't know what happened to that pot. I guess I threw it out at some point. Because that way I wouldn't have to add the second batch. So I've added the second batch. I'm gonna let it cook down a teeny tiny bit. I'm gonna cover it, and then we're going to add the seasonings and all that other stuff. Okay, so we've gotten them all nice and cooked down. They still need, you know, more time in here, which is totally fine, but it's cooked down enough where I have the stirring power so that when I go to mix everything in, it's not falling over, like spilling over the top of the pot. So we got all those onions working their way to the top now. So we're gonna put in 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar, 2 tablespoons of liquid smoke, and then the seasonings, which are 2 teaspoons each of sea salt and onion powder, and then 1 teaspoon of cayenne. Like I always say with the cayenne, if people don't want to add cayenne at all, or they want to do half of what I'm incorporating into my meal, or a quarter of what I'm incorporating into my meal, all of that is completely optional. With the collard greens specifically, I would definitely recommend doing maybe not even as much as me, because I love spicy, but incorporating some, it definitely adds to the flavor of the collard greens. So we still have some water at the bottom, which is great. Tiny bit of water. Keep the moisture going in here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put the lid on this pot, and we're going to let these cook down for, I'm going to check on them in 30 minutes. They might need 40. And this is all on a medium heat. Everything from phase 1 has all been on a medium heat. It should get in there. See what's going on in that pot. Okay, so then we'll be back for the finished product after 30-40 minutes. So we are back for our finished product. Collard greens, I checked on them twice. I normally don't like to take the lid off of them. Keep all of that moisture and stuff in there. I just wanted to make sure that we had enough moisture at the bottom so that it wasn't burning, because I never really measure anything. So with this, I just put in 2 cups of water in the beginning, and normally I just add the water until, like, I just kind of eyeball it, but it came out absolutely to my liking. I tasted it a couple minutes ago and knew that it needed a few more minutes to achieve the tenderness that I was looking for. So I'll get you guys in there. Those are our alkaline collard greens. All done. So, as always, feel free to like, share, subscribe, and turn your notifications on. And I will see you for the next video.